In the farthest reaches of the North Pole in 1857, the Danish expedition ship Horisont is trapped in thick ice, its crew exhausted and on the verge of mutiny. Captain Anderson refuses to turn back. He orders the men to keep working, determined to reach the pole no matter the cost. All around is silence, until a distant explosion breaks it. The men rush toward the sound and find blood on the snow. Further along, a body lies, a wounded stranger with a shattered leg and deep wounds across his body. His name is Baron Victor Frankenstein. They drag him back to the ship as something monstrous howls in the distance. The crew arms themselves, terrified, as a huge figure emerges through the mist, the creature. It moves with unnatural speed and strength, killing several men despite their gunfire. Even when they drive it back and shoot the ice beneath it, the monster does not seem to die. Once the attack ends, Captain Anderson locks himself in his cabin with Victor. The Baron, pale and bleeding, warns that the thing they saw is his own creation, a being born of his ambition and his sin. He asks that, if the creature comes again, they let it take him. Then, realizing there may be no other chance to explain himself, Victor begins to tell his story. He grew up in a proud, yet broken family. His father, Leopold Frankenstein, was a renowned surgeon, brilliant but distant. His mother, Claire, was warm and full of life, the only source of affection in his early years. Leopold taught young Victor everything he knew about medicine, not out of love, but to ensure someone would carry on his legacy. When Claire died giving birth to Victor's younger brother, William, the fragile balance of the family shattered. Leopold poured all his affection into the new baby, leaving Victor overlooked and alone. Bitterness took root, and Victor became determined to master life and death themselves, convinced he could defy fate's cruelty. One night, after his mother's death, Victor claims he sees a dark angel, a vision promising him mastery over life and death. From that moment, his obsession takes hold. He blames his father for failing to save Claire, and his pursuit of forbidden knowledge becomes his act of rebellion, a way to surpass the man who ignored him. Years later, the family fortunes collapse. Leopold dies, and fires and revolts devastate their estate, forcing Victor and William to live apart. Victor is sent to Edinburgh to study medicine, while William stays with relatives in Vienna. In Edinburgh, Victor becomes a brilliant, yet arrogant scholar. At the Royal College of Medicine, he performs a shocking demonstration before a tribunal, using electricity to reanimate a recently dead body. His experiment horrifies the officials, who deem it blasphemous, and he is expelled for daring to defy the natural order. Among the audience is one Heinrich Harlande, a wealthy arms dealer intrigued by his work. He is incidentally the uncle of William's fiancée. Harlande offers Victor a laboratory, unlimited funding, and access to corpses in exchange for his discoveries. Victor accepts. He joins Harlande at his estate, where he reunites with William and meets Elizabeth, Harlande's niece, intelligent, gentle, and engaged to William. Elizabeth shares a striking resemblance to Claire, Victor's deceased mother. Despite knowing that she is promised to his brother, Victor becomes infatuated. He masks his jealousy under politeness, but his obsession festers. Elizabeth senses his tension, and they share some moments. But she ultimately rejects him, as she cares about William. Harlande, meanwhile, grows impatient for results. Victor builds his laboratory inside an abandoned tower overlooking a stormy valley with the help of William and Harlande. Using Harlande's money and the bodies of executed criminals and fallen soldiers from the Crimean War, he pieces together a body, tall, strong, and stitched from many men. He works feverishly, refining a method to channel lightning through the lymphatic system to awaken the dead. As thunder crashes outside, Harlande reveals a desperate truth. He is dying of syphilis. He demands that Victor transfer his mind into the new body so he can live again. Victor refuses, knowing the disease has already ravaged Harlande's organs. Furious, Harlande tries to destroy the machine. They fight. Harlande slips, falls from the height, and dies instantly. Victor hesitates only a moment before pressing on with the experiment. Lightning splits the sky, electricity floods the chamber, and the stitched body convulses. Then, silence. The experiment fails. Exhausted and grief-stricken, Victor collapses in his bed and falls asleep. He is woken up from his slumber and confronted by a tall figure. The creature has risen and come to life. His experiment is a success. Terrified yet awestruck, he teaches the creature its first word, his name, Victor. The being repeats it clumsily, like a child learning to speak. Victor keeps the creature chained deep in the tower. It is powerful, regenerates wound quickly, but its strength and confusion frighten him. He tries to control it as his father once controlled him, with punishment and rage. The more he hits, the more the creature resists. The relationship between creator and creation turns cruel and volatile. Weeks pass. William and Elizabeth arrive to visit, worried after hearing nothing from Harlinda. They find Victor unstable and secretive. Elizabeth discovers the chained creature and feels pity instead of fear. She teaches it her name, showing it compassion Victor never gave, and she starts spending more time with the creature, much to Victor's dismay. Jealous and humiliated, Victor lies to William, claiming the creature murdered Harlinda. Consumed by guilt and paranoia, Victor decides to end everything. He sends the couple away and then sets fire to his laboratory with the creature still inside. Flames rise, the tower trembles, and Victor walks away, until he hears the creature cry out his name, Victor. In that moment, he realizes the magnitude of his mistake and runs back to save the creature, only for the explosion to hurl him violently into a rock, ripping off his leg. On the frozen ship, Captain Anderson listens in silence until the crew begins shouting. He instantly picks up a gun and opens the door, only to come face to face with the creature. The creature steps inside and tears the gun from Anderson's hand. As it prepares to strike, Victor pleads for mercy, but Anderson, defiant, taunts the creature to show its true monstrous nature. Realizing Anderson has already heard Victor's side of the story, the creature begins to speak, its voice deep and clear, and decides it will tell its own. Inside the burning tower, the creature is engulfed by heat and smoke. It calls out for Victor, but no answer comes. Breaking its chains, it plunges through the drainage channel and into the sea. When it finally wakes, it is lying on a lonely shore. Burned and bleeding, it dragged itself into the woods, where it was relentlessly hunted by the men who shot at it on sight, convinced it was a monster. For days, it wandered alone, feeding on scraps and drinking from puddles. One rainy day, it found shelter in a house. Hiding behind the walls, it discovered that the house belonged to the same family of hunters it had encountered earlier. The family included an old blind man and his granddaughter, alongside the hunters. The creature remained hidden for weeks, observing the kind old man and listening to him speak with his granddaughter. From him, it learned language, words, tone, and emotion, and began to understand not just what they were saying, but what kindness sounded like. The creature eventually began helping the family in secret, earning the name Spirit of the Forest from them. One day, a pack of wolves attacked, turning the area into a dangerous place. The hunters fired at the wolves, killing a few and driving the rest away in fear for their lives. To stay safe, the family decided to relocate the women and the old man to town for the winter. But the stubborn old man refused, choosing to remain in the house as the rest of the family departed. When the family leaves, the creature enters the house and confronts the old man, who had sensed it long before and knows it had been watching all along. Over time, they form a friendship, with the old man teaching the creature to read, write, and appreciate the beauty of life. One day, driven by curiosity about its own existence, the creature returns to the ruins of the laboratory. There, it learns the truth of its origin, its creator, and the reason for its creation. When it comes back, it finds the house has been attacked by wolves. The creature rushes inside to save the old man, but it is too late. The wolves attack, and the creature fights them one by one, finally breaking the spine of the alpha wolf and driving the rest away. It tends to the old man, who is badly injured. The creature reveals the truth about itself, calling itself a monster. The old man, with his last breath, insists, "No, you're my best friend." Soon after, the hunters return and open fire on the creature, believing it is responsible for the old man's death. They shoot at it until it collapses, seemingly dead. But the creature is immortal. It heals. When it awakens, it resolves to track its creator, Victor Frankenstein. Months later, the creature tracked Victor's trail to Geneva, where Elizabeth and William's wedding was underway. It confronted Victor, demanding that he create another like it, someone who could understand, love, and live beside it, a companion to share the curse of immortality. Victor refused, fully aware of his past mistake and unwilling to repeat it. Enraged, the creature struck him. Hearing the commotion, Elizabeth enters the room and they both recognize each other. Victor grabbed a gun, intending to shoot, but Elizabeth threw herself in the way and took the bullet. William arrived with the rest of the guests, and Victor lied, claiming the creature had attacked Elizabeth. They tried to restrain it, but the creature was too strong, knocking everyone including William aside before seizing Elizabeth and carrying her away. William lies gravely injured and confesses to Victor that he had always feared him, and that Victor's madness had caused all the destruction. With his last words, he calls Victor a monster, and then dies from his wounds. The creature carries Elizabeth to a cave and stays by her side as she takes her final breaths. In a fleeting, tender moment, Elizabeth confesses that she had always felt like a stranger in the world until she met the creature. She dies in his arms, leaving the creature once again lost and alone. With nothing left to lose, Victor picks up a gun and gives chase, following the trail of Elizabeth's blood to the cave. There, the creature confronts its creator. Consumed by rage, it disfigures Victor and proclaims itself as master, challenging him to end its unwanted life. Then, leaving Victor behind, the creature flees as he pursues it across the wild. Finally, Victor's hunt leads him to the Arctic. He rides a sled across the frozen plains in pursuit of the creature. A fierce struggle erupts between them, but the creature proves stronger, easily overpowering Victor. In desperation, Victor attempts to destroy it with dynamite. The creature mocks him, warning that he should hope the explosives succeed, otherwise it will come for him again. The blast is massive, yet the creature survives. The story then shifts to the present, where Captain Anderson and his crew hear the explosion and discover Victor. Now, on the ship, Creator and creation face each other one final time. Realizing the weight of his misdeeds, Victor apologizes to the creature for his cruelty, finally calling it his son. He urges it to live, not as a curse, but as a gift. The creature forgives him, and they share a final, bittersweet moment. Victor then succumbs to his injuries as the creature softly calls him father. With its burden finally lifted, the creature climbs off the ship while the terrified crew looks on. It pushes the vessel free from the ice, sending it drifting toward open water. Anderson, shaken by everything he has witnessed, abandons his own reckless ambition and orders his crew to turn back home. The creature watches the ship sail into the sunrise, reaching toward the light. Finally ready for a new beginning, and the story ends in heartbreak and hope. Like, share, and subscribe for more.